Shalom, Kol Halal Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who do real and teach well in this truth. And shalom to the brothers out there pushing this word in sincerity and in truth. I just watched the latest video from Elder Apostle Tahar, and we got the name of the year, which is the year of charagma, or going into the year of the mark, which would be the mark of the beast. So I wanted to get this scripture out of Genesis 47, just to show you that this has happened before, and it happened in Egypt, and it's going to happen again. As far as you 2/3 going to your captor, to your oppressor, to seek the newest form of what would it be? Assistance. Instead of going to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, your power. But this is Genesis 47:13. It says, "And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence, for the faileth of money, or for the money faileth." So there was a time of a famine, a literal famine, and money wasn't worth anything anymore as far as their currency. So they didn't have anything to purchase food with. So here they come, the Egyptians, go into Pharaoh. Actually, they went to Joseph and said, "Hey, give us some bread. Basically, let me get some assistance." Just like today, you have a Jake that just lost their job. 9 times out of 10, they're going to go to the government for assistance before they seek out anything else. As far as unemployment office, or heck, one of your friends, a family member could help you out. But 9 times out of 10, Jake will go to the government for assistance. Just like back in the day, these Egyptians went to Joseph, and you had Jake living in Egypt at that time, because I believe this is when Joseph, his family, his father and his brethren were there too. Let's see here. Continuing in verse 16, it said, "And Joseph said, Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if money fail." So basically, Joseph saying, "Give me your livelihood right now, and then I'll give you some bread when the money goes." So when the money is Salakia, when the money is worthless, and you can no longer buy your basic necessities, you can exchange your livestock, or basically your livelihood, your work, to feed yourselves. And they brought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses, and he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. So Joseph said, "Bring me your cattle, I'll give you some bread." He never said that I'm going to give you a lifetime supply of bread. And that's where these Jakes fail to see the bigger picture. Yeah, Esau's going to hand you a little bit of assistance, but there's that little asterisk, or that little star by it. Just like with if a mother wants government assistance, like WIC, she can't have a man in the house. So she cannot have her husband, if she's married, in the house and be on government assistance. That's that asterisk. But yet she can have men in and out of the house as long as they're not living there. They don't have residency, which is wicked. That promotes wickedness. But it was the same thing back then. Joseph only guaranteed him bread in exchange for cattle. He didn't say, I'm going to feed you for life. So he gave him bread in exchange for cattle for a year. Knowing, though, that bread's only going to last so long, so they're going to have to come back. But not all of them come back. Some of them are going to go off into those devious ways, just like now. They're going to try to corrupt others. They're going to try to take other people's bread. But it's all a part of that system, to where you can go back to the one that gave you the bread in the first place. Because eventually, if somebody's taking everybody else's bread, then they're gonna go breadless too, and they got to go back to the same source. But continuing on, it says, verse 18, when that year was ended, they came unto him the second year, and said unto him, we will not hide it from my lord, how that our money is spent. My lord also hath our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my lord, but our bodies and our lands. So they're saying, hey, we can't hide the fact. The money's worthless. You already got everything we had to earn anything. You got our cattle. All we got left is our bodies, like literally ourselves and our lands. And the land that you lived on back then in ancient time was passed down through generation. So basically they're saying all we have is ourselves again. It says, wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? So saying why should we die? Because I mean, the money isn't worth anything. I mean, we already gave you all of our cattle, all of our horses, our herds, our asses. So why should we die? It says, buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh. So their solution was we'll sell ourselves under slavery. Just feed us. We'll serve Pharaoh, but just give us some bread, and give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. So give us bread to eat, and give us seed to sow, so we can continue to serve Pharaoh. And all this was a pledge for Pharaoh. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he removed them to cities, from one end of the borders of Egypt even to the other end thereof. Only the land of the priests bought he not, for the priests had a portion assigned them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them, wherefore they sold not their lands. And just like it says, you had the priests that were set aside. These are speaking of the Egyptian priests that were set aside, that would maintain their lands, because they were a part of Pharaoh's inner circle, to say. But just like today, you're gonna have these false prophets out here. I'm speaking like the major ones, not the ones that are just going against Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, but the ones that are actual agents for Satan, agents for Esau. You're gonna have them that some of them that don't take the chip, but they still have allegiance to the chip, or allegiance to the beast, excuse me. And they're gonna receive the same reward as those that did take the chip. Get that. The Revelation. Yeah, Revelation 16 or 13 and 16. And it said, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their hand, in their right hand, or in their foreheads. And the reason why these people are receiving that mark, or he's causing these people to receive that mark, is the same reason why back in Egypt, ancient Egypt, that the people went and sold their bodies. There's going to come a time where there's no more food in your local Walmart. There's going to come a time where all your local services, including water, has been shut off. And there's only going to be one source for a lot of people. and that's going to be your government. And then once the people realize that that's all there is, then the government's going to come down and say, all right, we can give you some assistance, but we need to track it. We need to make sure everything is fair, yada, yada, yada. They're going to give you all these excuses. We need to put a chip in you. We need to tag you just to make sure we know that you're serving us, because we are helping you. And that's how they're going to sell that chip to a lot of you people out there. And I can't even say Jakes, because it's going to be all the nations, but especially you Jakes though, because he's targeting you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and those scattered abroad, just to get to the elect. Like it says, and he calls them all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, so you have it inserted in you, or the name of the beast, so you're serving, you're part of that hierarchy that controls this beast system, or the number of his name, or like Jared Kushner, 666 Park Avenue. He literally bought that specifically to state what his intents are. That's where they produce the RFID microchip, radio frequency identification microchip, which is the mark of the beast. It says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, or 666, 666. And like the elder Apostle Tahar said, this is January 1st, 2019, the year of charagma, the year of the mark. And we'll get that word. End it off there. Charagma. It says, a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. There would be an S there, anti-messiahs. The mark branded upon horses, no thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. And that RFID microchip ultimately goes back to idolatry, because you're choosing to worship man, ultimately Esau Edom, over Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And that's why those that receive that mark are marked for death. Shalom.